Hello! Electronics stood before me, as merry as usual. You too, I replied, absent-minded. You know, the whole camp is talking about you. I guess I know why. So you did it already? He asked, giggling. Do you really think that concerns you? Well, no, I just... Then keep quiet. Leaving him alone with his speculations, I walked to the square. Why does he behave in a way that drives everyone mad? Although it's probably just me he maddens. I was completely immersed in my thoughts, not looking around, and didn't notice Miku until she bumped into me. Oh, sorry, I should be more careful. I was lost in thought and didn't notice you. You know how it happens. Oh, and hi! I looked through her and kept walking. Oh, Semyon, wait a second. What's up with Slavia? Tell me, it's so interesting. It seems that everyone in the whole camp except me knows about it. No, that not that I'm curious, but since everything is also serious... Saying that she is not curious is like denying a universal truth. Nothing special, I answered without turning back. Well, if you don't want to. I tried to isolate myself from the outside irritations, so Miko's other words passed by. The square scenery was soon replaced by the beach. Luckily, the juvenile gem of the Soviet pop scene wasn't around. I took a place on the sand and started gazing at the river. Why on earth is the whole camp so interested in my relationship with Slavia? In my world, nobody would have said a word. I don't know. In a youth camp with 17, probably. I mean, at least everyone would have been curious. Maybe it wouldn't have been a scandal like here, that is true. But everyone would have been curious for sure. At least you don't hear the things they say behind your back, that is true. For now I was ready to endure gossip, just as long as I don't have to report to everyone about my private life. The sun was rising higher and higher, and I was nodding off. My eyes were already closed when I suddenly heard someone sitting down next to me. It was Elisa. Congratulations. Meaning? Don't you know? Yeah, it doesn't take Einstein to work it out. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of this. Everyone here just has to mention it. Enough. And what did you expect? Is it out of the ordinary of the camp? I would even say it's exceptional. She laughed. And to show up the camp leader just like that, even Ulyana couldn't manage it. Me neither, probably. I didn't know how to respond to that, or whether it was a compliment or mockery. You know, you're making too big of a deal out of it. There was nothing unusual for me. Moreover, I don't understand why you have to poke your nose into my life. Don't you think it's just my personal business and nobody else's? Maybe so, Elisa said mysteriously. We sat silently for a while. I wanted her to leave as soon as possible, but Elisa was watching the pioneers on the beach, and it didn't seem that she was planning to go anywhere. So, what are you going to do next? What are you talking about? Today's the last day. Yeah. So what? Everyone will leave. So? And Slavia will leave too. And you will leave too. So? You'll break up. I know that already. Thank you. Obviously. And what do you think about that? What should I think? Can't stay here forever. Of course you can't. By the way, just because they leave the camp they need to break up? What kind of logic is that? But what? Will you let her go just like that? No. I mean, what can I do? Frankly speaking, I really had no idea what to do next. My head was a complete mess. I'll be able to get out of here. That was the most important thing for me during last week. And now I have to answer a much more difficult question. How did summer romances end for common Soviet teenagers? And my romance was a summer one for sure. I see. They just went home and that was it. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. Did you ever hear about letters and stuff like that? They could live thousands of kilometers away from each other. That, of course, would be kind of problematic. If the one, let's say, lived in, I don't know, in Lithuania, and the other one lived next at the border of China, that could be kind of problematic. That is true. In my case, in different worlds, that is also kind of problematic. That's true. It's not like one came up with a decent solution for such a problem in a couple of hours. Like, I know, it's up to you to decide. Elisa grinned, stood up and ran to the river. So is everyone going to have a talk to me now? It was only about half an hour till lunch, so I slowly walked to the canteen. Peonies hadn't managed to occupy all the 3 tables, so I was able to choose quite a good place, but, to my regret, not my favorite one in the corner. I was just about to start eating when somebody abruptly pulled out a chair at the table near me and took a seat. "Hi there, how are you?" It was Ulyana, an extraordinarily polite version of her. "I was fine until now," I sneered. "Oh, come on, better tell me, what are you going to do?" "Eat," I sighed. "I'm not talking about that. The session is over. You and Slavia are gonna part. What's next?" It's like my future is the priority issue for all the local residents. Hey, what really is the matter? Just curious. Curious about what? I don't ask what you are going to do tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or in a month. Why do you have to get into someone else's life? I'm not getting into anything, Ulyana said, offended. I'm not really good at all that stuff. True enough, you're still a kid. So you've got to explain, since you're the adult here. What should I explain? So you're going to stay in touch through letters, right? And then you're going to go to this camp next summer together? That sounds more reasonable. Thank you, Ulyana. Talking through letters. It sounds so wild to me. And I don't mind the idea of paper sheets and envelopes. I mean the possibility of living in Slavia for a year. Or probably even longer. Or forever. So what? May I join you? I raised my eyes and saw Slavia standing near me with a food tray. Okay, it's time to go. Ulyana jumped and dashed off to a far corner of the canteen. What were you talking about? You know her. What could we possibly be talking about? Slavia smiled. Took care of your business? Yeah, now I'm completely free. I can help you pack your stuff. It's not like I've got much to pack. Well, then you can help me with my stuff. Sure. That was the perfect opportunity for a quiet talk with her, although I had not the slightest idea of what I should talk about. Soon enough we finished our meal and headed to Slavia's cabin. Everything in it was clean, unlike an Olga's cabin. Yeah, Slavia's side, if Slavia's side is the left side, which it is I guess, looks very, very tidy. Or the right side looks also tidy. Well, oh, I'm not sure what I should start with. She took out her travel bag and started to rummage through a cabinet. Meanwhile, I sat on the bed and started to gather my thoughts. Do you have any plans for after the camp? What are you going to do? Well, you know. She raised her eyes to mine and gave me a smile. I'll go back to school. How are these people 18? And you? What about me? It's not like I'm really considering going to high school for a second time. Me too, I guess. Although, I don't really feel like going back to my city. Seriously speaking, even if I felt like going back, I had nowhere to go anyway. Why? Just because... Because there's nothing to do here. There. Nothing at all. And there's no one waiting for me there. But your parents... My parents... Well, you know... They are not there now. But where are they then? They're sort of working abroad. Ah, so you're one lucky guy. She smiled merrily. Why? They sent you foreign stuff and all. I wouldn't call my situation lucky as such. Well, anyway. Don't be upset. She looks like she doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm not upset about it. And it was true. Then what's up? Many things. For example? Well, for example... I was about to begin a vast outburst about my situation and my wish not to have to part with Slavia when the door was flung open with a bang and Xenia entered. Ah, there you are. Yes, we're packing. I see. It's a good thing I didn't come 10 minutes later, or I would have disturbed your packing. Slavia blushed and kept on stuffing her things inside the bag anxiously. Bitch, shut the fuck up. What's up, heroic lover boy? That form of address gave me the creeps. What? Nothing. She stared at me intently for some time. Watch it. Now more than just yourself depends on your choices. I didn't reply with those words. Xenia left the cabin. What did she mean? I think you can never know for sure. And yet, well, I wanted to talk to you about it myself. I was able to start, but then... About what? Slavia looked at me carefully. It's just, today we are leaving, right? Right. we will move back to our cities. Well, yeah. And when will I see you again? Slavia grew thoughtful. I don't know. And I don't know either. But you could write me letters. She smiled, but a smile didn't bring me peace of mind. Yes, of course, but you know that is not the same. What is it then? Can I go with you? I decided to take a chance and speak plainly. And what will you do there? Slavia seemed to not be surprised, but a bit vexed. Studying, my parents, and what will people say? I wasn't thinking about the options of other people. And to be honest, they didn't worry me much. Well, we can always find a way. What way? We'll think of something. Semyon, we are too young for this. In fact, I'm not. So what? Maybe after some time. How much time do you need? A year? 2 years? 5? You say it as if... I don't know. She seemed confused. So, everything that happened here was just a holiday romance. I started getting angry. No, of course not, just... What? I'm not ready to discuss it right now. Let's talk about it later. When later? We only have a couple of hours left till departure. Slavia said nothing and continued to pack her things. I'd expected almost any kind of reaction from her, but not this. In fact, she just pushed me away. Turns out she doesn't need to continue our relationship. So, I'm not that important to her. I think it's only complicated for you. It seems to me that it's hard for you too, but for some reason you don't think so. And what if I told you that I don't have a place to go back, that since last Monday there is no more life for me, and I have to start from scratch? I don't know. It doesn't sound very reasonable. And it shouldn't, but it's true. And then what? Please explain. I came to this camp by accident. Actually, I am from another time, perhaps from another world. From the beginning of the 21st century. And I'm older than I'm seen. I don't really know how I got here. Slavia stared at me, but said nothing. The moments dragged on endlessly. I waited for her to laugh at me, to call me sick, or something even worse. And why are you telling me all this? She finally asked quietly. I want you to understand my situation. But it just sounds stupid. Of course! If I were you, I would react the same way. And what do you expect from me? I don't know. I just felt that I needed to confess. I'm not saying that you are lying, and I don't think you are crazy, but you have to understand I can't just accept it. Yes, I understand. I just thought that it would help you to understand my situation and my motivation for my actions. It didn't, to be honest. I sighed in frustration. And my opinion hasn't changed. But you'd be better off. You need to pack your stuff or you'll be late. Let's talk later. Is this a bad end? Did I make a wrong decision somewhere? I wasn't going to argue. If Slavia hasn't changed her mind after my confession, then it's pointless to press on right now. Distressed, I shuffled off to Olga's cabin. The camp leader stood at the doorstep and looked like she was waiting for me. Why are you so gloomy? Did something happen? No, nothing. Just came to pack my things. Oh, come on, let it out. You might feel better. Well, how do you think I can prove that I'm telling the truth to somebody who doesn't believe me? Are you absolutely sure that you are telling the truth? Absolutely. Then perhaps they may just need time to consider. Except there is no time left. Then I don't know. She shrugged her shoulders in dismay. Well, something at least. I tossed my winter clothing into a bag and headed to the bus stop. If a couple of days ago I'd seen the Icarus standing at the gate of the camp and waiting for pioneers, I would have been the happiest person in this reality. So, my prediction at this point, I did everything right, I guess. We will part now, and it seems like everything is bad, and then he will meet Slavia in the real world. My prediction. But right now I wasn't in the mood to rejoice. There was still plenty of time left until the bus departure time. I sat down on the curb and buried my head in hands. Why so sad? A familiar voice pulled me out of my thoughts. Just... Had a fight with Slavia? You could say that. And what's the reason? She doesn't believe me that I'm an alien from the future. I smiled ironically. I wouldn't believe it either, said Lena seriously. If I were in your shoes, neither would I. It's not a big deal. You'll make up from a quarrel. Yeah, but there's not much time left to... Left to what? To make the right choice. But it seems I have to do a choice. After a while, the whole camp assembled together at the bus stop. Everyone is here, began Olga. We're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something important. Yeah, we know that. Desperately lost. I hope that you'll remember the time for a lifetime, and you'll retain only pleasant memories about Sovietgames. A bit better, managed to learn something and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader turned away. Yeah, we already know that. Okay, here we go, that is new. Of course, this is where I met Slavia, but now we were going through a tough time, and what will happen next is absolutely unclear. So I didn't care about whether I'll miss this place, and Olga, or not. Unlikely. When the pioneers started to get on the bus, I pushed through the crowd to Slavia. Let's sit together. Okay, she said quietly. I even thought that I saw the shadow of a smile on her face. She's the whole time smiling. The bus flew across the expanses of my new world. Outside, fields followed forests, and then calm rivers and highlands. I felt as familiar with all this as if I was in my own homeland. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was trying hard to find the right words to start a conversation. We'd just been sitting there, probably for a couple of hours, but all attempts to strike up a conversation had ended with one-word answers. Forgot what I said before. I don't want to make excuses or say that it's not true. It's just now, the most important thing to me is you. I understand. She looked at me carefully. Looks more like angrily, but okay. Even if I sometimes act the wrong way and talk nonsense. Regardless, the main thing for me now is to be with you. And it always will be. I understand that I acted too recklessly and planned stupid ventures. But we can try to make everything right, together, you and me. Slavia was still gazing at me. Do you realize that it will be difficult? That you can't just run blindly into the dark? Because then there will be so many problems that we won't be able to solve. Yes, I understand that now. For you, I am prepared for anything. She didn't say a word, but just kissed me gently and put her head on my shoulder. It definitely meant yes. What? So much drama and... You know there will be problems. Yes. Okay. Everything good? Huh? I'm not a fan of this ending. I didn't want to bother her anymore. Let her sleep. The point is that Slavia finally understood me. Understood what she means to me. She realized that I will do anything for her. For the sake of her. And even if I'm overreacting or deciding too early, she's ready to put me on the right path. The path that we'll walk together. Night started to claim its rights and the bus settled down to sleep. At first I tried to fight it, but is there any use in enduring and wasting my efforts when the future had finally become crystal clear for me? My eyes shut just for a moment. And he is back home. There are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. It's like one is floating down a warm river towards a place far beyond the horizon, blissfully watching the vain world, hidden behind the clouds. The past is left behind, its echoes do not tear your soul, and the future is right here, you just have to reach out. It doesn't matter what is awaiting you there. The very process of immersing yourself in this fairy world of serenity and happiness is itself much more important. I've always believed that the universe was once in this state, and one day it will return to it again. Our life is just a blink of an eye, just a second in comparison to the universe. The birth and death of stars is a minute, and those of galaxies are hours. But even all of that, all put together, will not even be a day. Nobody thinks how to live each specific second, so does it really matter what each drop in a stormy river, running beyond the horizon of existence does? I open my eyes and stretch blissfully. Or maybe what is also possible, maybe he won't meet Slavia, and it's just a similar ending, like he reads on the chat again, hey, so what did you learn, or something like that. Let's see. I opened my eyes and stretched blissfully. I had no desire to stand up, as I felt I was in a perfect bliss, muffled in a blanket. After all, I don't have to go anywhere. As usual, actually. And I don't have any plans. So why shouldn't I just sleep? I rolled over and started at the old worn wallpaper covering the curved wall. I wonder how long ago the last time they removed this room was. Renovated this room was. Room, not moon. And why does here have wallpaper instead of bare wood anyway? Vague warming bells began ringing somewhere deep in my mind. I threw the blanket away, jumped up and furiously began to look around. Yes, I was in my flat again. At first I was paralyzed. The shock was so strong that my brain was unable to process what was going on. I just stood and gazed on the screen of the monitor on the table opposite to me. I couldn't think. I even forgot to breathe. Finally, my mind began to clear. What happened anyway? I fell asleep on the bus, going to the district center. Yes, something like that. And Slavia was sitting by my side. And now I'm back here? Seems like during the week I spent there in the camp, I had gotten so used to the fact that I'd never returned to my previous life that now I just have no idea how to react to all this. After all, at first my main wish was to get home. But in the end, everything was like in a bad movie. At last I had come back, but I am still shocked. No, I felt no fear. I was rather interested. And upset. After all, I'd already made up my mind to start a new life with Slavia, leaving all my problems behind. Insults, suffering, self-examination, unfinished affairs and plans for the future. Obviously, that life could not be worse than this one, at least. There's no returning to it now. On the other hand, if someone had told me a week ago that I would be sent into a different world, just like that, in the blink of an eye, I would have not believed him. So what makes such a fantastic event happening again so impossible? Moving my legs with difficulty, I went to the kitchen, got a glass of water and returned to the room. I really need a glass of water as well. Whoa, it's fucking warm in Germany right now. And I have a fucking dry throat, since I'm talking for 4 hours in a row now. The ice cold liquid with a disgusting aftertaste of bleaching powder revived me to some degree. Now I have to decide what to do next. Suddenly I realized that I could not bear the silence. After turning the computer on, I launched a random song in the player and managed to calm down somewhat. Seriously speaking, what can I do? Recently I realized that absolutely nothing is up to me. By someone's will I was pulled out of my usual world and then sent back. No answers were found during the week in the camp. What's the point in speculating now? I must forget everything that happened, like a bad dream. How doesn't he think that it is a dream? I mean, it could be. Maybe those were just hallucinations. I don't really care now. The only thing that prevented me from completely forgetting this short period of my life was Slavia. I recalled her smile and all the time we spent together. From the meeting on the very first day to the night in the forest and our departure from the camp. My heart furiously jumped inside my chest, spreading oppressive pain all throughout my body. I liked her at first sight. So gentle, caring, understanding. Oh God, do you hear my voice? I'm sorry. Just like that anime heroine. What was her name? The one who helped an antisocial fellow like me deal with depression? Welcome to the NHK, I suppose. And if you think about it, there are no such people in real life. Slavia asked nothing in return, needed no encouragement, never expected to be understood or praised for her work. She just was being herself, a girl that cannot exist in real life. If you think clearly, that's really exactly what she was. It seems like I've seen on one single, week-long dream. About the pioneer camp, Soviet teenagers and the camp leader, about warm summer nights and gathering around a fire, about light-hearted children's games and simple human joys, about one moment that lasted a week, and the everlasting summer. But not just seen. I've been there. I was part of everything. My eyes unwillingly filled with tears. No tears of pain or despair, tears of sorrow and bright melancholy. Even if everything is over, I experienced something that most people could never even dream about. Slavia's image flashed in my head, brighter and brighter. I would love so much for her to return from that camp with me. Maybe I have nothing to offer, to offer her now, but my entire life is still ahead of me. I guess I learned a lot of useful lessons from these events. I couldn't help thinking that it all seems too perfect, like it was written according to some simple plan. I have to tell you about the perfectly written. We talk about that. That wasn't perfectly written. And I'm being so mean right now. It wasn't shit either. It was okay, it was acceptable. A loser hero, a fantastic incident and a wonderful transformation. I guess it's not possible. And this game is for fucking free. I mean, I'm such a dick. I'm acting like I paid $49 for this shit. This game is for fucking free. How even dare I to criticize it? But it was so good. And I didn't like this ending so much. I mean, I didn't hate it. And I think it's okay. Not more than that. Will I become the person I was before only a day or a week later? Well, it's the most realistic course of events. One thing is for sure, I'll never be able to go back. I was about to say, that can't be the end. I swear this isn't the end. Yeah. About a month has passed since I returned from Sovietgames. Or to say it more correctly, since I woke up. I returned to my usual life as a loner, surfing the internet for days, going outside only to shop. As expected, it began to suit me again. Well, obviously, moments of melancholy and depression occurred. A person like me just can't do without them. They lasted no longer than usual. Except those times when, while sleeping, I returned to that summer, that mysterious camp. After awakening, I tried to banish these thoughts as soon as possible. After all, what's the point of dreaming of becoming a wizard? Even if miracles happen, and I was proof that they do, they happen completely independent of us. The word sweet doesn't give you a sweet taste, regardless of how often you pronounce it. But nevertheless, something has changed in my existence. Formerly, I didn't think ahead, didn't really care how long I would live, whether 1 week or 40 years. But now I look forward to it with optimism. Not like I tried to change anything or to become a different person. The world now seemed more understandable. Not simple, not friendly. No, not friendly at all. Just understandable. Before I just couldn't cope with some events or facts, though I kind of realized that they were there for a reason. Now I started seeing life as something simpler. What happens, happens for the best. Or at least it happens and I can live with it. And if I can't, I'm powerless in that case. I guess I started smiling more often, or at least didn't carry that look of deep universal frustration 24/7. What? But that the message of the Slavia story was, I thought the message of the Slavia story was stand up and fight for the right, for what you believe in. And in the end you tell me this is the moral of the story? And that can't be all. Even my acquaintances, on the internet obviously, noticed some change in me, and their opinions agreed that these changes are good. Now I think I'm ready to live on, thanks to Sovietgames and its inhabitants. Without them I wouldn't be able. It was the beginning of January. The city had barely recovered from the New Year hangover. The streets were almost empty. I told you, at least he's going to meet him, but the message is very strange. And the streets were almost empty during the day, not to mention the nights, when the only stranger walking down the street seemed extremely busy with some business, rushing somewhere for a reason that couldn't wait. I had no such reason. I just decided to have a little walk. It's necessary to get some fresh air sometimes. A winter's night is the best time to be alone with yourself. I always thought that true solitude can be felt in a crowd rather than a burning hot desert, boundless plain, or on top of a mountain covered with snow. You're not the first person to say that, Semyon. In the stream of people, words, thoughts, and aspirations, everyone had their own aim and direction. And I was the only one strolling among them, deserving no attention from others. Maybe they are like victors, moving in different directions. They never meet at certain Cartesian coordinates. It's the same thing here. These people are walking, running in one direction, and I'm dragging along in the other. But did I feel lonely? Before, yes. But now, highly unlikely. In the bright, blind lights of the city, the noise of cars and the swirling crowds, I enjoyed a heavenly symphony of silence. But now the situation is slightly different. There's just me in the street, so I'm alone, not only within my own self, but within the whole world. Being a sand grain in a desert, it's not the same thing as being a water drop in an ocean. In the crowd, nobody noticed me. Nobody paid any attention. But now everyone who peeks out the window or see me while driving past will think, why can't he just stay home? Maybe he has some urgent matter. Suppose he's mad, or he's just drunk. I never liked standing out from the crowd when it is not appropriate, so opposing society was never an option for me. But now it was different. As if I tried to tell everybody, look, I can be happy too. You need your TV and your hot chocolate. But I just need the snow, the night, a dark room, and a darn monitor screen. Look, and I'm not any worse off than you. I felt sadness in my heart, but it was a serene sadness. Do I really need the things that they have and I do not? But this is, again, totally different message. It's like, here, that's the way I am. Accept it, people. That has nothing to do with the universe and everything will be decided, or I don't know. Maybe I have something much more valuable. I didn't notice how I came to the bus stop at 410 route. Sorry, it's really late. This brings back memories. I sat down and rummaged in my pockets, trying to find cigarettes. However, the packet was empty. Fine. I crumpled it up and threw it into the bin. Maybe I'll get healthier. A lonely star was shining on the sky. Today I read on the internet that, according to the calculations of scientists, one of the most beautiful astronomical events has already ceased to exist, and we'll see it only decades later. Maybe this star has already exploded as well, and now it is only a beautiful image in the night sky, somewhere near a lost planet on the edge of the galaxy. However, why does one or another thing exist? Is it simply because it's just there, has shape and can be touched? Or is it because we believe that it exists? At first thought, the answer is simple. But on the other hand, cogito ergo sum, René Descartes. Even if this star is gone, we can still see its cold light. Maybe it helped someone to get out of a snowy winter forest, gave someone hope or a bit warmth to someone else. Could a simple astronomical object that exploded God knows when do all this? Can billions of people believe in something that doesn't really exist? Belief itself never made any object real. At least none that I've ever heard of. Snowfall grew stronger. Now it was a real snowstorm. Midnight. I was about to leave, but suddenly someone emerged from the solid white veil and ran under the bus stop roof. Здравствуйте, Slavia. It was clearly a girl, as she had the long ponytail hanging out of her hood. Where? I don't see it. She stood with her back to me, so I couldn't make out her face. Excuse me, has the bus already left? She asked without turning to me. Where can she be heading so late? The 410 must be the most cursed route in this city. Not only does it sometimes take people away to another reality, but it can't even arrive when you want it to. There is one more bus coming, just after midnight, I think. Thank you. The smile was clear in her voice. For some time I just sat silently, examining the girl. Finally she spoke. Where are you going so late? Is it really that interesting for her? Just having a walk, I answered thoughtfully. And you? Are you here for something important? Well, not really. Just going home. Where do you live? I couldn't help asking. Far away, she said vaguely. And I live nearby. It's a good area. I would say there couldn't be a worse one. I didn't have too many options. You don't like it? Don't know. I got used to it by now. I think that people can be happy anywhere they want. Perhaps. Well, think of it. People live even at the North Pole. In stations, I mean. And in the Sahara Desert. And in many other places. It's the people themselves that are the most important. It's difficult to disagree with you. My comment sounded so philosophical that I unconsciously smiled. You don't sound too honest to me. Now why would you say that, madam? She laughed quietly. I think you're a good person. That's the exact same thing Slavia said. Yay. I realized why her voice, statue and everything else seemed familiar to me. Slavia stood in front of me. For a moment I lost the ability to speak, but just for a moment. course, it could just be a girl who looks like Slavia from my dream. Or am I experiencing the strongest déjà vu? The city is not a pioneer camp. I'm not wearing a uniform, and it's not summer now. Trying to convince myself that it's just an illusion, I decided to ask a question. Have we met before? She carefully inspected me and smiled. I don't think so, but your face seems familiar. Had you ever been to a pioneer camp as a kid? Of course not, she laughed. When I was born, they'd already been disbanded. Oh, right. Although, I had a dream recently. She thought for a second. Me too. I mean about the pioneer camp. Maybe that is where we've met, the girl said seriously. Possibly. By the way, my name is Slavia. Actually, my full name is Slaviana, but everyone calls me Slavia. You can do that too. I was about to tell her that I know, but then I stopped short. After all, is it that important to know why Slavia from my dream is standing right here, right now in front of me at this frozen stop of the charmed bus number 410? After all, there are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. And mine is Semyon. What a lovely name. Starts with an S too. Yeah. So you live far away, don't you? Well, not really. She named the district. I thought it would be somewhere in the south. Why? I don't know. Maybe because you look like a pioneer. Oh, you and your pioneers, Slavia laughed. Maybe we wouldn't ever meet if not for them. Why? Her expression became serious. Just a joke. Listen, do you agree that the world exists because we believe in it? It's like some kind of subjective idealism. Slavia thought for a bit. The school of philosophy became close to me recently. Well, I don't know. I'm not that good with these subjects. What are your subjects then? She smiled. Different ones, no doubt. But it's just been a few minutes since we've met. It seems like it's been much longer. For some reason I've got the same feeling. An awkward pause followed. Sorry. The snowfall has eased, but there was still no bus. I looked at my watch and assumed that it won't arrive at all. Slavia seemed to feel even colder by now, as her cheeks grew more red and her hands were moving frenetically, trying to warm her body. Seems like the 410 bus is done for today. I guess, she said sadly. If you want. I started after pulling myself together. What? You can stay at my place, but we've just met, she laughed. She didn't seem frightened, even a tiny bit. Yes, I understand, but it's cold outside. Aren't you afraid? I mean, you have more reason to be afraid. Okay. Slavia looked at me playfully. Me, should I be? Who knows, who knows? I just suggested it. Don't think anything of that sort. I started to make excuses. I understand, she laughed. If you don't mind, of course. Even though it seemed impossible, she flushed even more. Should we go? Let's wait a bit longer. Maybe it will arrive. Okay. Jesus, how long is this going to go on? So what do you do in your spare time? Slavia asked after a while. Work at home, kinda. Just couldn't tell her that I do nothing. Sounds good. Why? Don't know. You have a lot of free time, you don't have to go anywhere, and so on. And you? I was trying to change the subject somehow. I'm studying. Getting an ethnographer's degree? What is that? Slavia asked seriously. Never mind. I suppose this is some kind of Soviet degree. I'll be an ecologist. Well, a career to be proud of. I hoped you would be a historian. Now you make me sad. We chatted about random things, and the bus was still nowhere to be seen. It was past 1 already. Time passed by so fast. I guess Slavia understood my thoughts. Shall we go? She smiled. I stood up and headed slowly towards my house. She carefully held onto my arm and looked into my eyes. You know, I'm sure that this year will be better than in the previous one. Oh God, hallelujah, it's over. My throat is really hurting and my leg as well. Sorry. Slavia, good end, yay! Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has its outline, synopsis, contents, key points, a prologue and an epilogue. There's no book which, if you read it again, would not reveal, yeah, okay, we already know that. Almost every. Except for this visual novel. The end? Oh, so we get a little cutscene with Slavia. Yeah, but it's credits. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old for that shit. Maybe I'm just too old for that shit. But I didn't like the teenager. I mean, I like the message, stand up for yourself. It's okay. I can understand where they come from, but it kind of dragged. It was too long. The whole drama thing. And then Semyon, I don't know, needing for forever, and then they just kind of did it, and and then this end. I mean, it was, you could see it coming, but that's not in general a bad thing. It's strange. Now she goes with him. She has seen him in a dream, and that's just not my cup of tea, I guess. Okay, the real ending that he meets her in the real world and that she goes with him is not the game's fault. That is just not my cup of tea. So let's see. The ending was okay. I liked the message that you need to stand up for yourself and make your own life, but at the same time, the thing with the universe, I didn't get that. I mean, of course, he was sent into a dimension he didn't know and stuff like that. But those are two completely different messages. What did you want me to tell? The one or the other, you know? I mean, we could do a little yin-yang thing and say maybe it's a bit of both, but also, it wasn't as well written as the previous part. Semyon behaved often like an idiot, like a real idiot. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, she wanted to meet up with him again. So suddenly, she was okay, living her life with him again, and I don't know. Everything it seemed random. It seemed really, really random. I like the game still though. And the ending was okay. It is not up to the standard of let's say day 1 to 5, except for the horror part, which I don't like, but I mentioned that by now. It's not to the standard of day 1 to 5, in my opinion. I like the Semyon ending. The Semyon, I mean, it was quite strange. It was first like a dating sim, and suddenly this psychological stuff happens, but it made sense, you know, he's in the wrong world. I mean, what didn't make sense is that he didn't miss anybody, because he was friends with everybody, basically, but okay, I'll take it. But it made sense, and it brought to me the emotion the developer wanted me to feel. I felt fear and confusion, and you know what I mean? It aggravated me. It sucked me in. This year I don't know. It's from time to time it just seemed a bit ridiculous, you know. I mean, I know it's a fake world and stuff, but it seemed from time to time it seemed ridiculous. Well. Not my favorite ending. Sorry. Slavia. Seemingly not best girl. Let's see who is. But man, I'm gonna make a break for a few days to play this. You won't recognize any of this. When I upload this, I probably have played this like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So, no problems for you guys. I'm gonna upload that shit all in a row. So, thank you everybody for watching. Come back for the next part. The next ending will be Ulyanas. Yeah, I've got to get that behind me. I mean, at some point you have to do it. Yeah. Thank you. Leave your thoughts. If you have different thoughts, if you think I'm totally wrong, if you think I didn't get it, tell me. Like, for real, tell me. I know I'm not the master of the universe. I'm not always right, and I'm always. I love to discuss topics. So, if you think differently, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next part. Bye bye.